Well, snowmobiling 2025. As you can see, super nice out, warm, sunny, September, but I have some new projects that got dropped off at the farm. Here they are. So, the yellow 95 was actually mine that I gave to my cousin probably 5 years ago, and now I have it back. He's like, well, if you take that one, you got to take this one. So apparently this one he just bought for the suspension. I don't know anything about it. There's a 91, 92-ish, but I know this is a 95 MX 470 that I bought probably, 1997 or so. And there's 7,600 miles on this one. And I put probably 3/4 of that on this one, but this is something I rode a whole bunch. It just sat up in that barn where all my other stuff is, but it has sat outside for the last couple years, so it has taken some damage with sun damage with the tether, and it's cracked, and this is broken off up here, and kind of a bummer that it sat outside that much. But I'm confident it'll still start. The front bumper's kind of beat up, ski hook is busted off. I think they swapped the track on it with just a different one. It wasn't broke but I said it had 7,500 miles on it, because I think they only put maybe 100 miles on it since the last 5 years. So those two, I don't think there's much left of this one. The exhaust is gone. The engine's in there and stuff. I just kind of took a peek, but it is very, very crusty, and like I said, I don't have much of a use for that. This one's just the same old 470 I always had. Paint was always coming off there, and just typical, this zip ties holding the windshield on, and clamps holding the exhaust up on there. But so it always did run. It had an issue with the oil will leak out of the tank and right into the crankcase, so it almost like hydrolock itself. So I've always kind of had an issue with that. I don't know what that was. Not if they worked on that at all. Probably still does it, but usually just put a hose clamp or a vice grip on the oil line just to make sure that it didn't, because it'd pull over so hard, then you had to take the plugs out, then it'd be fouled out, then it'd smoke a bunch. So, but I said for 20 years I just had it up in the barn. I'd start it once a year if it snowed, try to give it a couple miles, try to warm it up. And I said it always kind of came around. So I'm sure the gas is couple years old and it smells bad. I'm gonna try and siphon that out. I brought my little siphon along, and then what I also brought, SnoKing. So the SnoKing I did get. This is for my SnoPrince. I got the drivers relined. So this was the new Rick Weaver. This is Mark Haugen up in, I think he's in Lina Lakes or something like that. I just picked these up the other day. So I did get all 4 wheels redone. So maybe I can try and get those on the axles before I get too far. I bought this gas tank. This is just like the one I put on my little SnoPrince up in the barn, but I don't have, there's a filter for it and stuff. This is just something my neighbor had sitting outside, so I'm just going to use it as a spare gas tank. I'm probably going to dump the old gas from the Skidoo into that, but like I said, this one, I would like to try and get the driver started in there, and then I did get this Tillotson HR for my SnoPrince up in the barn, because last winter it ran pretty good, but then it run out of gas, after half throttle. So I'm just guessing either A, I can't get that one jet out. It's got a couple of flanges in there. Had a couple of seals for the axle for these. I do have bearings here and stuff like that, or I can just bend the tab back on the needle thing. I'm gonna try that first. But it's all these cups. I just want to clean this stuff up a little bit. Probably won't have much time today, but I just want to kind of compile some of my parts back together, because hopefully by this fall, slide that back together. So this seat, I was trying to find something better here, because I was going to mount the gas tank right here, but I don't have much space. I have to think of something else. That's going to have a temporary one inside there. But like I said, this track is not so great. Hopefully it's spun. All these metal bars, that's the way my other SnoPrinces are too. Some of these wheels are kind of shot, but this thing sat in that barn for as long as I've been alive. So if I get that back to going again, that would be excellent. So my goal for today, get these. Well, I want the yellow one up in the barn where it belongs. This one, I really don't care. That's more just junk to me, but I'd like to spray some premix in the carburetors and see if this one would actually fire up. I think he said it fired a couple years ago, but this I'm sure will run. Even the primer, I worked on that a little bit. That loosened up, so primer on the gas. So be back in a minute. Well, luck would have it, worked on a primer for a while, and it's actually shooting gas right now, so I do believe the gas is shot, but it's probably 2 years old. It does have some oil in there. Switches are on, it should fire right up. First pull, that's just kind of how it was. Well, it only runs in the primer, which I don't know why it's not sucking gas. Boy, I hope that little gas pickup didn't fall off inside the tank, which, you know, it's a 1995, it probably did. There's fuel in the fuel filters, but I don't see any more coming in. It's not shaking around. It's not really pulling it in there. Obviously, it's pulling in oil, so it must be smoking. I had a feeling that there was something wrong with the fuel pump on this at one time. You know, when I had it yet, but I don't know if that's something I want to tackle today or do a little bit of looking around, see why I don't have fuel coming in there. But it runs, hits on both cylinders, throttle works, headlight works, hand and thumb motors work. So what else could you ask for on a free snowmobile other than it just, I don't really want to mess with it too much, but it's nice that it runs and I'll get out of the sun and inside someplace. What are the chances I can get this siphon to pull gas out of the tank? It doesn't actually smell that bad, but my flashlight just died, but we'll see what exactly this looks like. I've never used this for gas before. Well, it's working. Actually doesn't look that bad. It's a little dark. We'll let that pull out. That's why this is just a little boat tank I actually pulled out of my neighbor's yard. Like I said, the gas doesn't look all that terrible, but I'd like to see if that pickup is on down there. There's probably, hopefully, like only 2 gallons in here. better than I thought. So I've never messed with this before. It's pretty cool.
Go.
Filming now? All
Yeah.
right. Little squeeze. There should be gas in the carburetor. I don't know about these fuel pumps. I never really mess with this much, but they'll take off now. It's not going to fall off, is it? New drivers. What's this one do? All right, snowmobiling 2026? I don't know. It's still December 2025. As you can see, you got some snow. See what the barn projects have going on today. See what kind of things I need to fix. But I added another snowmobile or two to the fleet. Well, I got one back. Got my 95 yellow MX back. So I had that for 25 some years. Then gave it to a cousin of mine. They rode it for a little while, and now I got it back. So hopefully today, between the SkiDaddler, I have the battery charging right now, the little SnoPrince, messed with the float level on that little carburetor last year. It's run really lean. I rebuilt another carburetor. I didn't put it on yet because I just want to check this one if I give it more gas, if it'll be any better. Like I said, my old MX, this has a ton of miles on it. It's kind of beat up, but I did clean the carburetors out, flush the tank out, like a month or so ago. Got it kind of running, cleaned it up a little bit. So it should just pop right off, I hope. But it hasn't been in the snow for, I don't know, 3-4 years or so. And ski loop is broke and it's all rusty. It's sat outside and I don't know. But it'd be nice to get it out and see what it does yet. So I'm trying to find a place to put this down for a minute, hit the primer a couple times and see what fires up. That would like to suck oil into the cylinders, so maybe we'll try the SnoPrince. More gas. That popped right off. better. Not great. But hey, at least we got somewhere. All right, full of gas. Pulled the plugs. Should be good now. See what I can't think of a single thing that can go wrong. There. Not so bad. All right. See what she does. know needles I shot, the little rubbery pieces are all eaten up. I think I had ethanol on for a while, but I was gonna take those off and go get new ones, but it snowed in the meantime. All right. My confidence in the SkiDaddler is probably too high, but I'll try the battery. We put on charger for a little bit, but first time is always a little iffy. So I'll try and choke it. Squeeze. Should have gas. That one seems to like the rope for some reason. Battery's a little weak, but give it a little ride. Alright. Get rid of the snow. Again. Alright. First try at the SnoKing. See what happens. Tank on. Fuel. Recoil open. Why did it do that? Oh, there it goes. Like, not like that, is it? Now that's the Yamaha we grew up riding. He bought that brand new in '73. Like I said, we put lots and lots of miles on that one, even though we did change that engine 2 years ago to another used engine because we're a little hard on it. It's a really good engine, actually. Got a little issue with the carburetor. Took it back off. I don't know why. I just lowered the float levels down a little bit because it was definitely sucking too much gas. That's why I was so rich yesterday, but it seems like it's much better now. So did the carb off of that to get the needle because I know those are shot. SnoPrince is good. SkiDaddler is good. Trail 70. It's a Bridgestone I rebuilt last year. And I didn't notice that the barn did get fixed last year. So all those holes we had last year, all re-steeled. So my storage is excellent now.